Monday morning in the city office. The world outside was waking up, but inside, the rhythm was already set. Sunlight, keyboards, coffee, and chatter, just another day. The hum of computers and the clink of mugs filled the air. In the corner, a small white humidifier hummed, barely noticed. It was as much a part of the office as the potted plants and the water cooler. The air was dry from winter heating, and the humidifier was meant to help. It was a silent guardian against the static and the coughs. It puffed out cool mist, blending into the background like the printer or coffee machine. No one paid it any mind. No one thought twice about it. Each morning, someone filled it with tap water, flipped the switch, and forgot about it. It was a routine, a comfort, a non-event. The office moved in sync, everyone settling at their desks, coffee in hand. But this Monday, something was different. The mist drifted through the office, reaching every desk, every breath. Unseen, it carried more than moisture. The day rolled on. Deadlines, reports, lunches at desks. The humidifier kept working, its plume vanishing into the air. It was a shared experience, one no one questioned. But this time, the air brought not comfort, but a secret. A dark secret, ready to turn the ordinary into the unthinkable. The hum wasn't soothing, it was a warning. No one noticed the danger in the corner. No one suspected the countdown had begun. The office, so familiar, was about to change forever. The humidifier, meant for wellness, had become something else. Its mist was no longer harmless. The stage was set for a crime no one could imagine. The ordinary had become extraordinary, and no one saw it coming. The first symptoms were easy to dismiss. A headache here, a cough there. It was the kind of thing that happened every winter, and no one thought much of it. By Tuesday, a project manager felt drained, blaming a bad night's sleep. Others chalked up their fatigue to long hours and looming deadlines. A nearby colleague developed a dry, stubborn cough. The sound echoed through the open office, but no one paid it much attention. It seemed like a typical office bug, the kind that made its rounds every season. But by Wednesday, more people were sick. Desks sat empty, and worried glances were exchanged in hushed conversations. The project manager's headache became a migraine. Her colleague's cough turned into fever and chills. The symptoms were getting worse, not better. 2 more called in with severe flu-like symptoms: nausea, dizziness, a metallic taste in their mouths. The office energy faded, replaced by anxious whispers and a growing sense of unease. The illness was spreading fast, and it was intense. No one could remember an office bug this bad. One employee collapsed in the break room, overwhelmed by sudden dizziness. Panic rippled through the staff. The sickest all sat near the corner, the humidifier's corner. But no one made the connection. By Thursday, nearly a dozen were seriously ill. The office felt abandoned, haunted by the invisible threat. One was hospitalized with what looked like pneumonia. The fear was now real. Panic set in. This was no ordinary flu. Rumors swirled about what could be causing it. Management sent an urgent email: "See a doctor if you're unwell." The message was clear. Something was very wrong. The office would close Friday for a deep clean. Everyone was told to stay home. Suspicions focused on mold or the ventilation system. No one suspected the real culprit. The humidifier was still just background noise, quietly running in the corner. No one thought it could be the source. The real cause remained hidden, quietly at work. The office, once routine, was now a place of fear. The sickness was a mystery, and time was running out. The answer was right in front of them, but no one was looking in the right place. The danger was still invisible. Friday, the office was empty. The silence was unsettling. The cleaning crew arrived in hazmat suits, methodically wiping down every surface. Their first target, the HVAC system. Filters were pulled, ducts examined, but nothing stood out. Air samples, vent swabs. All tests came back clean. Meanwhile, the HR manager mapped out sick employees' desks, searching for a connection. A pattern emerged. The worst cases clustered around the humidifier. She called the environmental team. Focus shifted instantly. They approached the humidifier with care, collecting water and surface samples, repeating tests for hours. Everything was sealed and sent to the lab for urgent analysis. At the hospital, doctors found something odd in a patient's blood. Ethylene glycol, antifreeze. It's toxic, causing nausea, respiratory distress, even kidney failure. The public health department was alerted. The investigation deepened. The pieces were falling into place. The humidifier was no accident. The office was now a crime scene. The truth was about to surface. The lab results finally arrived, conclusive and utterly terrifying. The entire office held its breath as the findings were revealed. The humidifier's water was laced with ethylene glycol, antifreeze, a deadly poison. Swabs from the nozzle and table confirmed the contamination. The evidence was undeniable. The building's ventilation was clean. Only the humidifier was tainted. Someone had poisoned it, on purpose. Shock and fear rippled through the company. Whispers filled the halls. This was no accident. It was a deliberate act. Someone among them was a criminal. Police launched a full-scale investigation. Every employee was questioned, one by one. Security footage was combed through, especially near the kitchen where the humidifier was filled. One name surfaced: David, the IT support specialist. He was seen in the kitchen every morning, always carrying a small bottle. The timeline matched the poisonings. The evidence was mounting. The office had its suspect. Tension was at a breaking point. The hunt for answers had become a desperate hunt for justice. David was brought in for questioning, calm, almost detached. He barely flinched as detectives laid out the evidence. He denied everything, but the evidence was overwhelming. Confronted with footage, he confessed. He'd poured antifreeze into the humidifier out of resentment and years of pent-up frustration. Years of feeling invisible, overlooked, and unappreciated had festered, turning the office into a daily reminder of his insignificance. He saw the humidifier as the perfect, anonymous weapon. He wanted his colleagues to suffer, to finally notice him, to feel the pain he'd carried for so long. He claimed he didn't want to kill, just to make them sick, just enough to disrupt their lives. It was revenge for years of perceived slights, whispered jokes, and being left out. He researched poisons, choosing ethylene glycol for its subtlety and slow effects. He thought he'd get away with it, that no one would ever suspect him. His actions were a desperate cry for recognition, a final attempt to be seen. The office was no longer just a workplace. It was the stage for his anger and his need to matter. The motive was as chilling as the crime itself. David was arrested, charged, and sentenced to prison. The victims faced a long recovery, physically and emotionally. The hospitalized employee survived, but others struggled with lingering health issues and anxiety. The office atmosphere was shattered. Trust was gone. Shared appliances were removed, and strict new policies were enforced. Counselors were brought in, but the damage was deep. Many employees left within a year, seeking a fresh start. The story became a cautionary tale for workplaces everywhere. Companies re-examined their safety protocols. The incident revealed how easily trust can be broken. It underscored the need for vigilance, not just against accidents, but intentional harm. The lesson was clear. Workplace safety is about people, not just procedures. A healthy environment means more than productivity. It means being seen and valued. The humidifier horror was a wake-up call. The scars would last, but so would the lessons. Trust is the foundation of any workplace. This incident shattered that trust, revealing its fragility. The poison wasn't just chemical, it infected the company's culture. Rebuilding trust took time, effort, and real change. New channels for communication were created. Managers learned to spot isolation and distress. The story is a lesson in the dangers of loneliness and resentment. Inclusion and kindness matter. Small gestures can prevent tragedy. The humidifier horror is more than a crime story. It's a human one. Safety is about more than rules. It's about people. Without trust, any office can become a place of fear. But with care, even broken trust can be rebuilt.